The next fight, a lightweight bout between Jamie Mullarkey, another Aussie, coming in at minus 230 against the Argentinian making his UFC debut, Francisco Prado, sitting at plus 230. Over under set at 2.5 rounds, plus 138 on the over, minus 138 on the under. Undefeated Francisco Prado taking on Jamie Mullarkey. You think he stays undefeated?
He could. Look, you look at his record, and he's got so much finishing ability. I mean, he's got a ton of knockouts. He's getting Von Flue chokes, arm bars, KOs, rear naked chokes, guillotine. I mean, the dude just seems like super well-rounded. But Jamie Mullarkey fighting in his home country, he got the split decision win over Michael Johnson, which ages pretty well. We were talking about before this that Michael Johnson just went in Orlando and beat Mark DeCasey. So that's a good win for Jamie Mullarkey. Mullarkey's tough. Obviously, we've seen him dropped and come back in fights before. Does get hit, though. I mean, he does get hit quite a bit, which makes me a little bit nervous here for him. And against a guy like Prado, who's making his debut, which is always a little bit sketchy, but obviously he has all that finishing ability, and he's shown it a lot in his career through sub, through knockout, you name it. And at plus 230, maybe take a flyer on him. The only thing that, kind of makes me cautious to do so is that it's his UFC debut. Hate taking UFC debut guys unless we've seen them on, the Contender Series or, seen them fight really, really good competition outside the UFC. But he's going to be going in there against a vet and Jamie Mullarkey, a guy who's super tough. So it's interesting, but, with that finishing ability, plus 230, maybe worth a sprinkle. I'm going to wait as the week goes on, but I think Jamie Mullarkey's got to be the pick, but I'm not going to be surprised if you see a big upset here.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. Jamie Mullarkey's probably the page. Should definitely win this fight.
Yeah.
But, I mean, coming off the win as a minus 230 favorite against Michael Johnson, split decision, lost to Jalen Turner. Yeah, we touched on it before. You can't be too upset about that. A couple wins as slight dogs against Devontae Smith and Kama Worthy. I mean, he's 3-3 in the UFC. I think he wins the fight, but I just don't know that I would get behind that price because you don't know how good this Prado kid is. And the level of competition he's fighting down in Argentina is probably not the best. He is getting a ton of finishes. He's never been to a judge's scorecard, so he has all finishes. The play that I think I'll probably be making is the under 2.5 rounds. So like minus 128 or minus 138.
138, yep.
Minus 138. So yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good price for a guy that's never been to a judge's scorecard. Jamie Mullarkey's only been to the judge's scorecard like 3 times, I think. At least in the UFC, he's been there 3 times. And then before that, I think he's been there once on the regional scene. So, yeah, I mean, he gets hit a lot too, like you said. So, either way, I think one of these guys is going to go down. Mullarkey leaves some openings on the feet. He fights off the jab a lot, but Michael Johnson touched him up. This Prado guy, when he lets go, he lets go. Like, when he lets his hands go, there's not a lot that's going to stop him. Could leave himself open to getting countered and dropped or even, taken to the ground and submitted. But, yeah, I probably wouldn't touch Mullarkey at that price. Maybe there's some value on Prado inside the distance or something. But I think the under 2.5 rounds is a solid play.
Yeah, Prado, look at his picture on Tapology. He kind of got a little Drew Dober face going there. Big fire hydrant head. Might be hard to knock out. So,
yeah, I know he does actually. Dang.
You look at him. I thought that was Drew Dober with a Samurai Fight House Championship belt on his waist. But
there we go. Right down on the mouthpiece. And,
yeah, exactly.
Let it go. Jamie Mullarkey's been knocked out 3 times. So
yeah,
maybe that's going to be his kryptonite there.
Could be. Underdog might not be a bad play.
Yeah, I mean Prado round 1 or round 2, like KO is probably pretty juicy.
I mean, we saw like a similar situation with and another guy. He kind of looks like just off of memory, kind of. We saw Bruno Fajeda come in there against RoboCop and just land that left hand flush. Bruno Fajeda was a guy that was knocking everybody out on the regional scene. Makes his UFC debut, comes in and just flatlines dude. So Yeah, I don't know. You never know with these guys, especially the hard hitters, guys with a lot of finishes. All it takes is one.
Yeah, Rodriguez, a guy that gets hit a lot too. So
Right.
maybe we
Exactly.
come back this and then we're like, whoa, we called it. We called it. But
Geniuses.